Hi, I here. This is a reading for the sign of Taurus. We're going to do a Celtic crossbred with the Thoth deck, and what we see on the bottom of the deck is going to represent what you don't see coming. And once we get an idea of what the general message of this reading is going to be, we are going to pull 3 cards from the shadow deck to see what's going on in your subconscious and to see if there's any further clarifications we may need. So let's just see what happens. Okay, so today we are tuning in to the sign of Taurus. So if that is your sun, your moon, or your rising sign, or however else you choose to identify today with the sign of Taurus, you can let that be a way to interpret the messages that are coming through. And if the details of these messages don't fit, that's okay. Do not try to force them. Take what resonates, leave what does not. And if none of the details are really seeming to fit your situation, you can always check your other placements, or you can just stick around and see what's going on in the world of other Tauruses. So let's see what messages we get today. What things can we think about for the sign of Taurus? Are there any things we should meditate upon? Things we should put our focus on and just think a little bit more about? Are there things that we should look out for? Warnings we should be aware of? Are there things we should look forward to? Things we can put our energy into and try to move towards? What messages can we get today for those who are trying to tap into the energy of the sign of Taurus? So let's just see what happens today. Okay, that feels pretty good. So let's see what we get. In the present moment, we start with change. The Two of Pentacles. I always look at this, and it to me feels like a cell that's splitting into two, right? It's like it was one thing that is now formed into 2 separate things that are still connected. They're still bound to each other, but they're distinct. But their differences really come from the fact that they are just 2 sides of the same initial creation. But in a more practical sense, this is a card that is representative of expansion and change in your life, in your situation, whatever is going on with you. So let's get a little bit more of a sense of what is happening around this change. The Princess of Discs. So that is the bearer of the energy of Earth, presenting to you something that is an opportunity that is likely the thing that is kicking off this change. In fact, if we look at the card here, right down the center where these 2 things are connected, they are crossed by the Princess of Discs. So I feel like there was maybe a sort of solitary, stationary, sort of singular quality to whatever this situation is for you, and whatever the Princess of Discs has brought into the opportunity has been the thing that has separated this into 2 parts, and now something is growing, changing, but expanding in some sense, because some new earthy practical thing has been either dropped into your life or presented to you by a person, or maybe it's your own thoughts, but something is expanding your world. So very nice. Let's get a little more of what's going on here. 8 of Swords, interference. We have another, a 5 of Cups, disappointment. There's another 5 there, the strife. But we have the 10 of Discs above everything. The 4 of Swords, the Devil, the 10 of Swords, and the 4 of Wands. Okay, so that's a really interesting, nice set of cards there. There's definitely some difficulty here. There's definitely some struggle in this energy. It's not smooth sailing here. There's definitely some ridges and bumps here. But I don't know that this is bad. This is a lot of friction is what's happening here. So let's get a sense of what we've got just out here on the table. We've got, in terms of our major arcana, we have the Devil. That's it. Just the Devil. What a what a presence to be the major arcana, right? In terms of our other cards now, we have just the one court card with the Princess of Discs. So again, I think this is something that is very solitary for you. This is something that you, as an individual, are personally going through or experiencing. And maybe this is something that's internal, or maybe this is an internal feeling that you're trying to now, release and express into the world. But there's not a lot of interaction with other outside entities or parties or anything like that. It's just the Princess of Discs, which, like I said, is the bearer of the Earth energy. So I think it's actually quite appropriate, again, to really emphasize the Two of Discs and the Princess of Disc right on top of each other. With no ace in sight, right? This is the energy of the ace is being handed down by the princess and causing this expansion. And I don't know that this is easy expansion, but with the 10 of discs above everything and the 4 of wands and the outcome here at the end, that seems very positive. The journey may be difficult, but the outcome and the guiding force of that seems really nice to me. But okay, so let's see what else we've got here in terms of our minor arcana. We have the for fire. It looks like we have just the four. Is all I'm. Oh, the 4 and the 5. Yes, we have the strife card and completion there. In terms of our water, we have a 5 and just a 5. In terms of our air energy, we have a 4 of swords, a 10 of swords, and an 8 of swords. Which the 10 and the 8 are not particularly pleasant sword energy. I mean, a lot of the higher numbered air cards are a little bit difficult, but not horrible. And the 4 is really just like a quiet, reflective place. So it's not bad, but it's definitely a place of healing. And in terms of our earth energy, it looks like we've got just the center situation and the 10 at the top. Of course, the devil also has a great deal of earth energy contained in it as well. So, okay, so let's get a sense of what the message is here. So, as I said, I think I've already made very clear what I think is happening in the present moment with change in the Princess of Discs. Something is a catalyst for expansion. Perhaps you were stuck. You are Taurus. Perhaps you were very much grounded in being in a certain way, and an opportunity has been presented to you to perhaps expand and change. And for a Taurus, that may not be an easy thing to do. Hence why I think there's a lot of sort of difficult friction in the rest of these cards. But we see here in the recent past, we have the 8 of Swords, interference. This can sometimes be a card of sort of being blinded to things. Our thoughts are almost putting up a wall or a shield around us that is preventing us from being able to see the kind of cage that has been built around us. It's a false cage. It's one of those situations where you feel like you are stuck in a situation and there's nowhere to go. You're just boxed in. But in reality, that's purely a mental cage. There's nothing physical about that cage. It's not like you are being forced to stay there, other than your own thoughts are projecting a encasement of who you are, what you're doing, or what you're capable of accomplishing. So I think what this is likely saying to me is that you have been in a place where you feel like everything is almost routine. This is the way it needs to be. This is how it's going to be. This is the mode we're going to work in, and everything is just smooth sailing. But it probably feels a little redundant. And again, singular. This idea of the Ace of Pentacles being where this all started, but in the present moment we have the 2 of discs of Pentacles. I prefer Pentacles, honestly. But in the present moment, we have the Ace of Discs being fractured into a 2. An expansion is occurring because of something that has been presented to you, whether this is some insight or some opportunity has been handed to you from some other party. Something is being gifted to you. I really feel like this is a gift to allow you to walk out of the cage that you have created with this 8 of Swords. Perhaps the expansion at the mental level that's happening is the realization that you are not actually in a real cage. You are just encased in this energy of air. And so that air is going to give way to the growth of this physical expansion in your physical realm, you're going to step out of your head likely and start to actually do things in the real world that are not keeping you as contained as you felt up to this point. Now, it is a little rough that the card that follows that is the Five of Cups, disappointment. I mean, maybe there is a little bit of anxiety about what this expansion is going to feel like. The cage that you are putting yourself in may feel comfortable. And again, for a Taurus, I get that. That's the kind of idea of this is home. It may not be the best, but you feel cozy and warm in it. And there's a little bit of destruction of that sort of safety that is going to be lost when this expansion occurs. If this is with another person or connecting to some bigger opportunity, stepping out of your comfort zone or letting other people into your comfort zone is a shakeup that is not particularly pleasant all the time. That doesn't mean bad, it just means it's a shakeup. Maybe you've got a nice sort of calmness to whatever it is that you are sort of presently sitting in, and this Five of Cups is representative of that sort of serenity being broken down and that cup sort of spilling out. Now, maybe that's a cup that needs to spill out. Maybe there is more that needs to be put inside of that. Maybe there is a better future through this expansion, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be a little disappointing to let go of where you've been, especially if it feels very comfortable. But again, this is all about growth, and we see more of that sort of kind of idea here. This is the emotional side of it. This is the sort of this fiery side, I guess, for lack of a better word. This is the sort of what you feel in your I mean, they're both cards of feeling, but I mean, one is more, I think, is losing a bit of a serenity quality. This is more of a shake-up of now I have to start to handle all of these different changes, and handling those changes is not going to be something that is going to go smoothly. As you're expanding, you're going to have to be, reacting to all of these new changes that are coming into you. And some of those are going to be in conflict with the things that you maybe potentially found important initially for yourself, or things that you felt needed to be taken care of in this way, or, this is the way I do this. This is what motivates me to get these things done. And that's going to potentially be in conflict as you expand. But I mean, that's what growing pains are. This is about growth, and if something expands, it's got to break a little bit. You've got to stretch things out so there can be more room to put whatever it is that's coming into your life and expanding this growth. And although that might feel like strife and difficulty and a sort of mismatch of energies of what do I put my time and effort into, what's above all of that is the Ten of Discs. Again, all of this struggle that's happening here, it's moving upward and towards something better. But again, there's got to be a little bit of stretching. I mean, like I said, any time a cage is broken or something is expanding, there's going to be a little bit of pain and strife through that. But it's leading towards building a bigger receptacle for whatever this further abundance is that is going to come into your life from allowing this growth to occur. Okay. Now, here in your present energy, we have the Four of Swords, which again, to me, very much makes sense. If you're in a very safe, cozy, comfortable position, this is you in that energy of really thinking about how do we grow and go forward with whatever this new opportunity is. It's not as painful as the Eight, but there's still a bit of sort of stiffness to this truce energy. In fact, perhaps why you're in this Eight of Swords moment, maybe there is some past difficulties that have caused you to want to sort of, keep yourself isolated from other people. Whatever those difficulties were that put you in that cage, this to me is even further into the cage, inside of yourself, even deeper, the protection of the actual wound, potentially, of whatever it was that forced you into this mindset of, I'm trapped by this thing. Maybe it's not a wound, but whatever the source of putting up this sort of barrier to external forces, this is even further in from that barrier. This is the actual sort of, maybe it is a wound. I feel like almost like this is the scab that protects the wound as it heals underneath. Okay. So this is you in this stiff kind of like, not stiff in a bad way, but I think comfortable, but like not growing kind of mindset. Okay. And what needs to come out of this, or what I think sort of inevitably will come out of this, is the devil energy, this is the expansion trying to break out of that shell. This is that cold protective energy of I'm safe as long as I stay inside of this very comfortable, restful place. But there's a fire, there's a passion inside that needs to come out, that isn't going to just be suppressed by pushing it down. And that's what I think the devil energy is representing here. It's the it's the what's the word I want to use? It's the ambition to want to crack out of this, right? This is the energy inside of you that's saying, let's break out of this. We do not have to stay inside of this shell. We do not have to be prisoners in our own mind. We are capable of growing and expanding and doing great things here. And so we find ourselves in this energy here of stiff, cold, quiet rest, but there's a fire inside that will expand outward. And when that fire inevitably expands outward, the cage of the eight is completely demolished. And that's the challenge here. Is again, I think there's comfort in staying in this place, even though it's not a great place to be in permanently. So the Ten of Swords, the ruin, is not you being utterly ruined. It is the cage imprisoning you that is blasting apart as this devil energy can no longer be contained. Whatever this opportunity is, perhaps the opportunity is the devil energy coming to light a spark, lighting a fire underneath you and saying, you can't stay here forever. It's comfortable. I'm almost reminded of like the Shire, right? With, Bilbo sitting there in his comfortable little protective place, not wanting to go anywhere, and then all of a sudden, opportunity literally knocks on his door, and he has essentially kicked out the door to go on this adventure that completely changes his whole life and makes something very beautiful happen. So that is, I think, possibly what the Princess of Discs is. The bearer of the earth energy is, in this case, the devil. Not the devil that I'm going to corrupt you and make you sin kind of devil energy, but the earthy, grounded, the fire from the earth, that cold fire that is going to pull you out of this quiet, restful place and push you out the door. And that's the ruining of this cage that is not a real cage. It's all mental, but that cage will bust open. And again, it's going to cause pain. I mean, not necessarily difficult, like horrible pain or anything like that, but disappointment, strife. Change is going to not be a smooth transition, but that change can be a positive change, because once you're no longer in that cage, you see the light in the background of this card. That's the sun rising. In the Rider-Waite version of the card, you see the sun rising in the background. This guy has all these swords in his back. He looks like he's having a pretty bad day. But that's because whatever that person represented, that was an old, outdated thing that needed to be put down so that further growth could be achieved. Expansion needs to occur here, and that expansion is possible, but it can only come from breaking away from the limitations that are keeping all of this boxed in right now. And once that expansion occurs, what leads us to the Four of Wands, the finding a real, true spiritual home, building almost like a kingdom. I mean, it's not representative of a kingdom here. It's a fiery, these are the four fiery pillars that you can put a canopy over that can provide you protection while still being open to the experiences of the world. It's not a kingdom in terms of a cold castle that keeps you locked away and not able to interact with other people. It's this beautiful, expansive kingdom where there really are no walls. There's just the infrastructure of the people that are important to you, the things that you value, the pillars of your life that really hold up the kingdom that you live within and still allow things to come in and out, and growth can always be accomplished because, again, there are no walls. The idea here is you're breaking those walls down. The devil's coming in this case as a positive force to lead to this expansion so that you can be more open and receptive to a much more positive future. And that's where you're going to get that ten of disc energy. This completion is going to lead to a much more positive day-to-day life. And it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to get a bunch of wealth and you're going to be living lavishly. This is an opportunity to really live a life that you feel connected with the things that you're doing and the people that you surround yourself with. So again, as a stubborn Taurus, that might not be the easiest thing to get started, but I really feel like this is a message that will be a positive growth should you choose to take that opportunity. Wow, that was nice. I liked that. Okay, so let us see what you don't see coming now. The Hermit. Interesting. I almost feel like that's where you are right now, is the Hermit. But perhaps what it is that you don't see coming is what the Hermit represents, the bearer of this light. Maybe this is you in this moment as this quiet, sort of, reflective person, whatever your situation is, and you're sitting sort of in this quiet, alone space, carrying this great glowing power. And what this is all about is breaking through that cage so that the Hermit is no longer going to be the Hermit, but can in fact share that light with other people and really make the world a little bit better. So that's what I think is happening here. So but as always, with these cards, if there are messages that come through that are different from what I'm sharing with you, or if you disagree with any of the interpretations I'm giving, that is totally okay. These messages are for you to receive, and so however your intuition speaks to you, let that guide you in understanding the message you need to receive here. So, okay, with that said, let us now pull from the Shadow deck. Let's pull 3 cards from there and see what's going on in your subconscious. Okay. So we're going to pull 3 cards from here just to see what's going on under the hood, so to speak. So with this message, I feel like kind of everything here is, to some degree, kind of going on under the hood. Like, this is really about you breaking out of yourself and sort of re-entering the world. Okay, so let's see what else we get. And one more good shuffle after that one. Okay, let's do one more. Okay. There's the Ace of Cups. Nice. The Six of Cups. And the Ace of Swords. 2 aces. Okay, that's awesome. And it's interesting because one of them is active energy and one of them is receptive energy. Maybe active's the wrong word there, but right. So I kind of feel like these are almost like two things that are going to come together. Normally, the fire would be what you would pair with the water. But again, I think there's a lot happening here in terms of your mental energy and your emotional energy sort of interacting. And I think this is your emotions and your thoughts sort of coming together in a way that is going to breathe this new change. I think the Ace of Pentacles or discs or spheres, whatever deck you're using here, it's not present. But again, I think that's what I feel like it's almost representative of the Devil and the Page being this energy that's bringing that Earth Ace into your life and breaking it apart and opening it up. And as that breaks open, the things that you find inside are your emotions and your thoughts sort of being... I almost feel like they're, in some sense, they're integrated and set free at the same time. I don't know. That doesn't exactly make sense, but like I feel like there's just like it's like this nut is cracking open, and all of this stuff is happening. All of this stuff is coming out, and it's expanding your world, the way you feel, the way you interact, and it's like a new set of emotions and a new way of thinking with things. Is sort of created through breaking down these old paradigms of how you've sort of interacted and experienced things in the past. And with the Six of Cups, I think this is always representative of some nostalgia. There's something from your past that, again, I think might be what has put you in this cage, whatever that is for you. But I think perhaps what the Devil is sort of knocking on your door and saying you need to think about this is to react to whatever this past experience was, which probably had positive and negative qualities to it. But this is maybe allowing you or asking you to think about not just the negative things that caused you to put up these walls, but to be open to the positive part of what it was that felt so good about whatever that past moment was, and to reconnect with that, and to open up like almost like a little jewelry box that needs to be opened up to see what things are inside. You need to poke around in there and see what's going on. I mean, I think that's what the truce Four of Swords energy is about, is opening that up and looking inside and, you know, pulling out the things that you really appreciate and throwing away the things that you don't really appreciate all that much. And again, I think this is going to allow you to have a new way to be receptive to feelings, a new way of thinking about your world going forward, and allow you to reconnect with whatever it was that made you feel really special in the past, whatever really resonated with you and made you feel empowered. And when you go through this process, this hermit energy that you're presently in is no longer going to be hermit energy. It's going to be leading you towards the sort of soul family that you're looking for with the Four of Wands, the kingdom that you're trying to build. That, again, I visualize it as a kingdom with no walls, so it's always going to be able to be expanded in the future. There will no longer be these barriers that block you in. It is a canopy that you can find shelter and comfort in, but it's not one that's going to keep you locked in and restricted. And it's going to make you feel a lot happier, and you're going to really get more connected with that Ten of Pentacles energy of, you know, the best version of your life that you're really trying to work towards. And what we don't see on the bottom of the shadow deck is the Queen of Wands. Stepping into your power, you know, really feeling confident in who you are, knowing that you have the creative, confident, powerful, commanding energy to handle whatever life is going to throw at you. And I can't think of a better person to be sitting in the kingdom that is built from the Four of Wands than the Queen of Wands sitting on her throne, just showing off how beautiful and powerful she really is. So that's fantastic. This was a really nice reading. I enjoyed this personally, and I hope you did as well. I hope this was helpful. I hope there is some message in here for you that helps you get through any blockages or difficult times that you're currently experiencing. But that's all I have for you today. As always, please like and subscribe if you have not already. If you have any comments or feedback or just anything you want to share, please feel free to leave a comment below. And if there's anyone that you think might enjoy or benefit from these messages, please share them as you see fit. And yeah, like I said, that's all I have for you. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.